Welcome to TiECON 2016 at Chandigarh. We have had an amazing list of speakers here, and the man sitting with me, the unassuming man sitting with me in a beautiful green kurta, is MD Pai, Mohandas Pai. He needs no introduction, but still I would do that as a formality. Mohandas Pai is a lot of things keep him busy, and he is a chairman and founder of Erin Capital Partners. He is also the founder of Manipal Global Education, and Mohandas Pai is a man to look out for if you are interested in different domains like edtech, technology, life sciences. So his investments range from a lot of stuff, from artificial intelligence to life sciences. He is a man who can guide you in a lot of stuff. So, Mr. Pai, can you tell us a bit about your investments, the recent investments that you have been doing, and what are the checklists you have before you invest in any startup?
Well, we've been investing in various asset classes. First, we created 10 funds spanning various asset classes. We have Aryan Capital, where Ranjan Pai and I are involved. It's about a $100 million fund. Then we have interest in a fund called Tandem Capital in Palo Alto, which is in the mobile to consumer space. It's doing very well at the seed level. We have interest in a fund run by Neeraj Bhargava, which is Zodius. We've got a small hedge fund. And then we got two funds called Xfinity 1 and 2 run by Bala KV from Infosys. That's into pure technology. We run India's first women entrepreneurship fund called Saha. We have a deep technology fund called Idea Spring. And then we have a semiconductor chip design fund called Exceed. And we have a mid-cap public market fund called Singular. And then we have a real estate fund called Neve across asset classes to create a platform for investors to come and to create an ecosystem of startups in various asset classes.
Right. So, I mean, you got some amazing investments on board. Can you tell a bit about
We have about 130 companies where we invested in all these funds so far.
Okay. So, what do you look for in a company before you invest? Do you have a checklist
Well,
of some sort?
well, I think what we look for is the power of the idea.
Okay.
We need to have a very powerful idea which can dominate, grow very fast, and which is technology led, so it can scale up. The big thing today is scaling up. So you got to scale up pretty fast, and for that you need to have good technology. The second is a set of founders who are to be passionate, energetic, capable of change, flexible, and really work. And we want people who are 24 into 7 immersed and passionate about what they do. That's very, very important. And they must have mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive skills.
Okay.
I think that's a very important thing that needs to be done. And third, of course, we need to have a company which is flexible and has the ability to change depending upon the market.
Right.
These are three things that you look for when you invest.
So, what are some don'ts for an investor? For investor, when you see a company, you see this is a red flag. I'm not going to invest in this company because a lot of companies they are looking for venture capital funding.
No, I think you need to have a very unique advantage
Okay.
or a unique idea which sets you apart.
So that's your part.
And the execution of the idea should be very, very good.
Right.
Even if you have a unique idea, the execution is weak or the team is not very good, I don't think you should invest. And going to Me Too ideas because somebody has done it is not a good thing, because there are 100 Me Too companies for every simple idea.
Right.
It's not easy to set up a company.
Right.
And if you're Me Too driven by capital, I personally like people who have respect for capital.
Right. Right.
I mean, I'm very worried about people who don't have respect for capital and think the intent of a startup is to raise the next round. Unless you create a strong business proposition and you have something which is able to sell and which has great technology, you're not going to succeed because the competition can eat you up. And if you're focused on only raising further rounds of capital and higher valuation without growing your business, you're going to be in trouble someday when the music stops. So I think it's very, very important for entrepreneurs and others to have respect for capital, be frugal, execute very well. Money will come to you automatically. And money cannot be a input.
Right.
Money cannot be an input into the business.
Right.
All right? It cannot be something that you go on consuming to get an output like some companies have done, because you soon run out of money.
Right. So, what are the core areas which you are interested in? Are there some sectors you like?
Well, we like technology as the core platform, because technology is a differentiator and technology can make things go pretty fast.
Right.
And then we have some investments in edtech,
Okay.
in fintech,
Okay.
and fashion tech.
Okay.
I think very interesting, and life sciences.
And life sciences.
Yeah, and there are some investment in other areas too, but these are largely the three or four areas which engages right now.
So, in India, we have got one of the biggest, largest youth population in the world. What do you think we need to do as Indians to, boost up the startup ecosystem in India? And where do you see the future of India? Is this a time bomb that we are sitting upon, or do you think some really good opportunities out here?
Well, I think the sad thing about India is none of you look at data. Let me give you some data. There are 19,500 startups in India
Right.
who have created $75 billion of value based upon last valuation, excluding the Snapdeal latest value, and 350,000 people have been employed in these startups.
Right.
In 10 years' time, we'll have 100,000 startups, $500 billion of value, and about 3.5 million people will be employed. Last year, there were 5,000 startups, out of which 1,000 got funded. I just met Shanti Mohan, who runs something called Less Venture,
Right.
and she told me that she's got 10,000 startups seeking capital on a, on a portal Less Venture.
Right.
So this is for real.
Right.
And all those Cassandras and everybody who say there's a bubble, this will happen, this will happen, they don't know what they're talking about. There's a surge of entrepreneurs in this country, and we need to understand that India is a collection of 29 countries. It's like Europe. It's not a single country.
Right.
It's a collection of 29 countries. There's a lot of action happening all over the place. And all this action is coalescing into new companies.
Right.
And 100,000 startups for 10 years is no big deal. It's too small
Right.
for a country of our size. So I think we need to get a proper perspective of what is happening in the ecosystem and what we need to do, both at the policy level, at the entrepreneurship level, and the individual investor level, to accelerate the trend and make it much more viable.
Right.
So I think there's great things happening.
So, Amartya Sen made a statement that India is the only country in the world which is trying to become a developed country in 21st century with an unhealthy labor. So, what he essentially meant was the Indian youth aren't poised enough, they aren't educated enough, and they were a disconnect with the industry. Do you also see that?
No, I don't see that.
Okay.
Look, we need to first understand that India is not one single country.
Mhm.
And even within India, there are layers of people. The top 300 people, 300 million people are on par with most countries of the world. I mean, they're doing well, they're well educated. The next 300 have got less educated, and the balance are very poor. And if you think that all 1.2 billion people are going to gravitate to the top 300, we're all mistaken.
Right.
Each level is moving at its own pace.
Right.
Amartya talks at the macro level. We are 17% of the world's population. There's no single solution.
Right.
There's going to be no single solution. We got to be realistic. We got to look at things very differently, and not to get carried away by the pessimism of Amartya, because this is not going to change the next 30, 40 years
Right.
like he wants. But we have to take steps to make sure that every individual in this country or every citizen gets the basic necessities of life, and we have to focus on that. That's the import of what I read Amartya to say. But the thing is, we have to have many things for many different levels of society, and startups and technology and everything else is very big. Let me give some more data.
Right, sir.
The total tech sector this year will be about 170 billion dollars. On a street value basis, if you take American prices, it is $300 billion. 4 million people are employed. 4 million people are employed. And this year, along with startup, maybe 350, 400,000 people are going to get jobs. These are high quality jobs. And no country in the world is producing this kind of high quality jobs that India does. No country in the world. Not even China is producing this kind of high quality jobs. So we have a robust educational infrastructure which is producing the input. Yes, large part of the infrastructure is bad, but the top 20-25% is very good.
Right.
And that's what is driving all this.
Right.
So I think there are many good things, many things which could be better, but we need to understand the touch points and work appropriately.
Right. My last question to you is this. So, which are the areas which you think are ripe for disruption in India right now? Which badly need a disruption in India right now?
No, I think there are a lot of things for disruption. Banking is getting disrupted. Financial services is getting disrupted in a very big way. Education, the learning aspect of education, not the regulatory aspect of education, is getting disrupted. In supply chain, the B2C space is getting disrupted by creating a direct connection between buyers and sellers, doing away with the middlemen, because supply chain in India is 14% of GDP. China is 6 and America is 5. So we have a very inefficient sector. The entertainment sector is getting disrupted. So I think what is getting disrupted in a small way is what is happening around the world.
Right.
In a smaller way, because we have only a $2.3 trillion economy.
Yeah.
It still has to grow a lot. So I think a lot of disruption is happening, but it's pretty small because the buying power is very small, and it has to expand. And in terms of pure technology, in terms of pure platforms, I think the deep technological talent that is available in India is all being sold outside to the United States and to Europe. So you don't see much because the market is not here.
The market is not.
Yeah. And we're going to see disruption in transportation to electric cars.
Right.
Electric cars are still small, our policy is bad, but very soon you're going to see disruption. In the energy market, solar energy is disrupting the natural resources based coal fired plants, and that's going to be pretty big. Solar energy cost is 4 rupee 35 paisa per unit for a 50 megawatt plant, and thus equal to coal right now. And you can imagine what happens. Solar has picked up very well. Last year, alternate energy was much more than traditional energy all around the world. And this year, by March, India will have 20,000 megawatts of solar energy. So you must always see change at the edge and not change on the base. At the edge, there's tremendous amount of change, tremendous amount of investment happening in alternate energy.
Brilliant talking to you, sir. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.